Welcome and thanks for stopping by. You know, it's really getting close to Thanksgiving. As a matter of fact, we only have a couple more days, so I'm about to get in the kitchen and prep. Most everything that I'm going to cook, I can cook in advance and put in the fridge and just throw in the oven later. So I'm going to do as much as I can do today. Hang out with me. Okay, here I have some. Did I say I'm making chicken broth? I'm sorry. I'm about to make some chicken broth for my dressing. And you know, I save parts of my chicken. Instead of throwing it away, I'll put it in the freezer. This is like a piece of a back, and these are like the dings on the wings. I call them the dings, the little parts on the wings. But you can just save different parts that you would normally maybe even throw away, and put them in the freezer, and then you'll have um, the chicken that you need to make chicken broth. And right here I have some onions. You don't have to cut them up little. You can just cut them big. And I have some celery, of course. I have some carrots, and I have a little bit of a bell pepper. Okay, here's my pan. I'm just gonna add water. We're gonna add in our chicken. And the thing is, you know, you can season it the way I see a feather. You can season it the way you would like to season it, considering that this is some broth that you'll be adding to your dressing. And I'm also going to use the drippings from the turkey, so that won't be all. I'm only going to prep. I'm going to prep my dressing. Well, not prep it. I'm going to make my cornbread, and I'm going to season it up and put it into the fridge. But I won't be adding any broth or anything like that until the day of. So I'm only going so far with these recipes. But I just needed you, I wanted you to hang out with me, that's all. I wish I could play some music, but that won't be happening. So I'm going to also add in my onions. Throw them on in there. I might need some more water. And like I said, it's already turned up. We're going to bring it to a boil. I have the leaves on there too, yeah. That's just fine. Because we're going to strain this after it's done. Oh, and I have 2 bay leaves also. I'm sorry. 2 bay leaves. And we're just going to cover. And we're going to let that come up to a boil. Okay, while that's happening, I'm going to make the cornbread. And I'll be using a cup. This is pretty simple. I have limited space here. I'm going to use a cup of self-rising cornmeal. And if you're making more, you can just double this recipe. And a cup of all-purpose flour. You don't have to be so exact either, because it's going to come out perfect anyways if you go over or under a little bit. I'm going to use a cup of milk. And I'm going to add an egg. And I'm going to add a 4th cup of sugar because I don't like it to be sweet. You just don't want it to be bitter either. So you can add more or less, it's up to you. I think I'm going to add less. That's about enough for me. And because it's I'm using it for dressing, I'm going to add in some sage. Not a whole lot, because you're going to add it in again when you add your other seasonings to your dressing. We're just going to mix this up. And I have my my pan in the oven. I just like my pan to be hot. Usually I'll use cast iron, but I'm just using a square pan to cook this, but it's in the oven and I've oiled it. And that kind of gives your cornbread a crunch on the bottom. So that's the reason I do that. We're just going to mix this well. When your broth comes to a boil, just turn it down to a medium heat and let it go on and do its thing. Okay, I've taken my pan out. It's really hot. And I've oiled it, like I said. I'm going to take the excess oil and just pour it into my cornbread mix. Ooh. Mix that. And my oven is heated at 350. And we're going to put it, shake it out, make sure it's sprayed all over. We're going to put it in the oven. And we'll take it out after it's golden brown. You know how to check your cornbread. And if you don't, you just touch it. If it bounces back, it's ready. Or you can poke it with, just like you do a cake. Same thing. Anyway, into the oven. And I will be back. So we're going to need some celery, bell pepper, and onion. We're going to have to chop those up. They'll be ready. Just get all this stuff like this out of the way. Makes it so much easier. Chop them pretty small, because I don't like when I bite into whatever it is and it has big chunks of celery and onion or bell pepper. You want to bite. In other words, you want to get a what am I trying to say? A little crisp bite, crunchy. You want a little crunch, but you don't want to choke on a large piece of celery or onion. I think I need to change my knife. Do you have a favorite knife that you like to use? I know I do. I try to switch up because we tend to buy more than we need when it comes to knives and stuff. I know I do. And then I'll use this one particular one. How about that? And here she is. Watch your fingers. I always try to get this done early. Always have, because that's the way I was taught. You do what you have to do and you do it early. That way you won't have to worry about it when the time comes. Nothing but little things. like Thanksgiving morning, and most of the time you just have to warm things up. You should only have to warm things up. I'm going to wash my turkey also. I was trying to decide if I was going to fry it or bake it. I think I'll go ahead and bake it. And I'm going to soak it in some salt. And maybe something else. I don't know, some onion powder or something. Season my water. I'm going to soak it for a few hours. And first I'm going to wash it up, of course. And then I'm going to put it in a bag and wrap it tight and put it back in the fridge. And it'll be ready to go in the oven after I've seasoned it, of course. I don't know if I'm going to show that, but I may. That's the way I do it. And then you can tell me in the comments how you do it. I'm always willing to learn something new. I probably won't use all of this, but you already know that what you don't use, you can always freeze and use later. It'll save you some time on your next meal. Pick up this red one again. No, you go with that. Got that curveball. And when these cook in your dressing, you know they're going to get really soft anyway. Some people, they'll cook it and put it in, but no. I prefer it to cook in my dressing. Not to say there's anything wrong with cooking it beforehand. To each their own. Oh, almost caught that finger. I have the majority of my Christmas presents wrapped. I still have a few more to get, but not many. Well, I didn't wrap them. My husband wrapped them because I really don't like to wrap. And he likes to wrap, so that's a good thing. And he has gotten most of them done. And I'm happy that we about have that out of the way. That for bell pepper. Onions. I gadgets for this, but that's more dishes to wash. You gotta give up something either way, it doesn't matter. Watch those fingers. And there's the onions. We're going to set these aside. I'm going to add just a little bit of chicken bouillon. You don't want it to put too much because you don't want it to be salty. You just want it to be flavorful. And that's just to add a little bit of flavor because without adding something else, it's pretty bland. And I'm going to let that continue to cook. I'm going to skim some of this grease off too. You don't have to. That's just what I'm doing. Alright. Okay, so my cornbread is ready. And I made another pan. I don't know what I was thinking to make such a small amount. But, so we're just going to break it up. And remember, I'm just prepping, so I'm not going to go all the way. I'm just going to leave it with a few things to do, and that'll be to add my chicken broth, which is ready over there, but I have to drain it. And I'm going to put it in a container and put that to the side too. But I'm going to add my turkey drippings to this and my chicken broth and a few other things. Like maybe an egg and we'll see. Sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. But if you have any questions about it or anything, you can just ask me in the comments below and I'll do my best to accommodate you with an answer. And you just break it up. Like this. And my hands are clean. I am genuinely a clean person. And even if I wasn't, guess what? We're eating this over here. But that's not the case. Be clean in all that you do. Cleanliness is next to godliness. And things like that. I think it's easier to be clean than dirty. Because if there's nothing on the floor, you don't have to worry about stepping over it, right? Well, I'm just saying, okay. So that's broke up pretty well. You want to leave little chunks. The dark parts. Excuse me, let me get something to toss it with. I can just use my spatula. So I'm going to add in some stovetop stuffing. And I haven't always did this, but just the recent year or so, I started to do it, and mostly because all your seasonings are in here. It really takes your dressing over the top. Because this little stuffing has I want you to see it. I don't know if you can. See all the different seasonings it has in there? And it tastes really, really good. So you won't need to add any salt. Any salt to this fish. Unless you want to. Of course, you're going to mix this and you're going to taste and taste. Even when it's dry. Because like I said, we're not going to wet it. And I'm going to add in some pepper. I'm going to add in. It smells so good. Some celery. And it depends on you. How much you add in. Okay, sit there. Just gonna toss this around. I may need another pack of the turkey stovetop. Chicken is good too. You can add chicken in there too, if you want. We want to mix this well because we're going to taste it. And as it sits in the fridge for a day, maybe 2, it's going to marinate. And it's going to really be flavorful when you finally do add your turkey drippings and your chicken broth into it. And of course you can use the box chicken broth if you want to. I just, you know, when I have the time, I just like to make my own. Because the box is good, but it has a lot of MSG in it, and you can really taste it. MSG is not a good thing, but every now and again I will use it, just being honest. I added more pepper in if I didn't show you. You're going to taste it in a minute. You can add bread or whatever. I don't normally do it. I like cornbread dressing. I'll make that spicy, sure. With the pepper, but it won't be. Add in some more sage. That turkey stuffing has quite a bit of sage in it. So if you use that, just be careful. Taste before you add too much of something in it. Just have to take your time. Don't be in a hurry. And everything will turn out fine. Yep. I think I'm going to add some more veggies. You see? Hold on. Let me try that again. And I'm going to taste it again a little later. But it's going on. It's got it going on right now. Excuse me. I like poultry seasoning it too, but unfortunately, I don't have any. I have some, but not the one that I like. This has salt and stuff in it. The poultry seasoning that I'm talking about, it doesn't. It's kind of like, pretty much like sage, but not sage. So I'm going to do without it this time. And that's going to be that. For that. Sometimes instead of adding, you know, giblet gravy, I'll just add some sage sausage. I'm going to cook this up real quick. That'll be the last thing that I'll be adding into it until excuse me. Excuse me. Break this up. Excuse me. It smells so good. It smells like Thanksgiving. The sage in it. So we're going to add our sausage. It doesn't have a lot of oil coming from this, so you don't have to worry about it. Just add sage sausage. Into your mix. And I'm going to cover this and I'm going to put it in the fridge. And I'm going to do another video. Should be uploaded after this one. That's going to show you the completion of the things that I'm messing around with right now. But so far it's only been what? The dressing and the broth. It smells like Thanksgiving up in here. And that's it for that. One down. So next we're going to do the macaroni and cheese. And yes, you can do it ahead of time. Just after you mix everything together, you just put it in the fridge. And early Thanksgiving morning, all you have to do is stick it in the oven. Make it easier on yourself. So we have our water boiling. It's at a rolling boil. You want it to be rolling. And then you add some salt. That's when you add your salt. Don't add your salt until your water starts to boil. And I'm going to add my mac and cheese. I'm just using one box. Barilla. And I like these because they have the ridges. You know, go figure. And we go stir so we don't stick. And I'm only going to cook these for 5 minutes, and that's because, you know, they're going into the oven. So, set your timer. for 5 minutes. Well, I should say 5 minutes after the pasta starts to boil. So I'm going to have to give myself another half a minute or so. Because I don't know if you ever had overcooked macaroni. You know, and with overcooked pasta with your macaroni and cheese. Not so good. Stop stirring this. I just want to make sure they aren't sticking. I'm going to let them go for the 5 minutes like I said. So it's been 5 minutes. I'm about to drain it. Okay, so I have some carnation milk. Let me get you a little closer. There you go. I have some carnation milk. Oh. And usually I'll just add some mild cheddar and sharp cheddar, but mostly sharp. But since it's Thanksgiving, I'm going to add a little more cheese. And this is just the Velveeta. This is a small block. I only used half of that. Move that around some. Let it melt a little bit. Nice and hot. So I've stirred that until that Velveeta has melted. I'm now going to add in some sharp cheddar. And some mild. You can buy the block and cut it up. But because they have preservatives on these to keep them like fresh looking and fresh like after they've sliced them up. But it's okay. It hasn't killed us in all these years. A lot of times I prefer that, but like I said, make it easy on yourself sometimes. If it ain't nothing that gonna kill you, then hey, make it easy on yourself. But make it delicious. You know you gotta add some deliciousness in there. And I'm gonna add some more. Because it's Thanksgiving, you know, you gotta add a little something to everything, a little something more than you normally would. And some more cheddar. And I'm going to add some pepper. Hold on. A pinch of salt. If you don't like those specks in there, I do. Use white pepper. Pinch of salt. And where's my sugar? pinch of sugar too. Some more carnation milk or pet milk, whichever you choose, or Kroger brand, whichever. Add the rest of this in here. Mix. Mix. I'm going to put it in my pan. One more thing, I'm sorry, I forgot to add my 1 egg, just for a little extra richness. So, and if I hate when I make a mess. If your macaroni is still really hot, you can temper it with some hot water or something. But it's cooled off pretty much for me. It's not going to cook the egg. We're going to add that in there. And mix that up. And then we're going to put it in the pan. I'm just going to mix this well. Well, you want that egg all through that macaroni. And toss it. Don't break it up. Just toss it. And I have my pan and I added a little bit of butter. Try to get that crispness at the bottom. Oh, excuse me.